Nardal has come back out despite missing a vast part of the front end of the car, which is, I'm quite surprised really that they've sent him back out again, but they do seem to have done, and he's still dicing away with the Lamborghini there. So there is still it is Marcus Paltala who is leading this race. Bernoldi in second place, and then Max Martin in third position, but still waiting for them to make their pit stops, and they've got to do it within the next couple of laps. There's the number 47 Lamborghini, Christopher Haas at the wheel of that car, behind Jelmer Berman in the Corvette. And Berman was very quite fast yesterday, now trying to pick up the speed, of course. Lost a little bit of place, some places under the pit stop, and now trying to recover from that. On board, the rather beaten and bashed Hexis Aston Martin of Christian Hohenadel here.
Yeah, well, that's the end of the backstretch, the fastest part of the circuit. A little right. This is that tricky left-hander, which is really hard because you're braking and shifting at the same time into that chicane, through that very tight hairpin there. It's still smoking a little bit on the front there, but it should be okay.
How will it be affected handling-wise without that? Will it make any difference not having the bonnet, or what?
Well, it should do. It wasn't designed that way. So I think the engineers generally would run with something definitely on the front. It should make a difference.
So now we've got Bernoldi coming in, and we've seen Max Martin come in, who's going to be handing over to Jan Claret. So Bernoldi is going to be switching over. Nicky Katzberg taking over this car. So has staying out a little longer helped them? We'll find out. Of course, they were towards the back of the pack anyway, so I think they've gone for the clear air. They've gone for some clean space, whereas for the leaders it made sense to stop as the earliest opportunity, and it certainly worked for Dumbreck. So yes, I should say Westbrook a moment ago. It is Peter Dumbreck, of course, in the number 22 car at the moment. So Peter Dumbreck still behind Thomas Enger. Enger has still not made that drive-through.
No, he hasn't. I don't know if they're sort of querying it in some way, but normally once the decision is made, you're going to have to abide by that decision. So he's going to have to do it definitely at the next lap.
Nicky Katzberg rejoins right with the number 4 Aston Martin. Ooh. And the 4 car, which is still going. Christian Hohenadel still being shown still to be driving the number 4 car, which is interesting, with his bonnet missing as they continue on the way.
Oh, he's diving down the inside. That was a brave move, and it worked.
It worked. It did work, indeed. I don't know if it's still Hohenadel in the car, whether it's Piccini when they've forgotten to flick their switch. But anyway, he's managed to get the place back. Little battle going on between the two Fords, right behind, side by side, and just squeezing through in the number 41 car and getting the place is Jan Claret, who puts a wheel over the curb as he does so. And Claret, having recently just come out of the pits. There is Hohenadel, so our timing screens are slightly out of date. It is Piccini in the number 4 Aston Martin, which is what I thought it would be after the pit stops. But with the damage on the car, I guess it may well have damaged the timing beacon that they have to switch between drivers. Now, number 10 car, this is the race-leading car, Marcus Paltala, the Belgian Racing Ford. He'll be handing over to Antoine Leclerc. But this will mean that all of the front runners now, in fact everybody I think, will have made their pit stop. And in the pits there is the tall frame of Antoine Leclerc. Now he locks it up on the dust. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was all a bit hairy, wasn't it?
And it was perfect at the end.
Yeah, he got it just right, but it was all locked up. Interesting on our timing screens is also something I haven't seen before, because they had to come through the pit so many times under safety car. They're being shown as having done 5 pit stops now, because they had to keep going through the pit lane under safety car. So Leclerc has got in. There is Thomas Enger, who is still not made the drive-through penalty. Young driver, no doubt, are still arguing the case at the moment. Away goes Antoine Leclerc. Where will he come out with respect to the cars that have already stopped? Well, let's see. The Aston Martin comes past him. No problem there. The Nissan of Peter Dumbreck comes past. Then also going past is Stef Dusseldorp in the number 3 Hexis Aston Martin. He's followed by Jelmer Berman in the red Corvette. And finally, the Belgian Ford comes out behind Piccini in the number 4 Aston Martin, but ahead at the moment of it's Katzberg. Katzberg in the number 20, a Nissan, and I think the Nissan's going to have him here because he's got his tyres fully up to temperature. Antoine Leclerc still trying to pick up speed here, and that's no problem at all for Nicky Katzberg.
No, absolutely no. Again, he had the warmer tyres. those fresher tyres coming out the pits out of that first corner is always going to be a bit difficult. So yeah, I think he did a good job there.
Number 22 car then is Peter Dumbreck. He and Richard Westbrook are looking to try and win this race if Thomas Enger has his drive-through penalty. As it stands at the moment, of course, with the young driver car ahead, then the young driver team would win the team's championship. But they are under a drive-through penalty, and it's Peter Dumbreck holding second, but not by much, you know. Look how close that Hex's Aston Martin is behind him as Steph Dusseldorp, and then Jelmer Berman, the star of yesterday. Look how well he's going in the Corvette.
Yeah, well, he's still doing in some really good times at the moment, so I think he's looking good. I'm surprised, or maybe we're surprised, how quick these Aston Martins are, because Thomas there is out in front and is pulled away, and then we see the Hex's car as well. He's dropped back a little bit that lap, but I think he's having to defend a little bit. But Berman is doing a very good job again.
Yeah, Jelmer Berman out of single-seaters, Super League. He's been a race winner the last few years in Super League, was runner-up in the championship a couple of years ago. Before that, he raced in the British Formula 3 Championship and British Formula Renault as well. So he's got a lot of single-seater race experience at a high level, and loving this Corvette, which is pretty much in a standard trim according to the team. They've not done anything special to it this weekend, but he's got in it and been fast right from the word go. So as they come up the hill and up towards the end of the lap once again, Berman is still attacking all the way up towards that last corner, trying to have a little think about it, but it is difficult to overtake, no doubt about it. Very, very tricky to find a place to pass, and look at how dusty it is off the racing line. It's going to make life even more difficult as he charges down the start-finish straight.
Yeah, it is. And what we did see yesterday, especially in the latter part of the race, you see the traction in this Corvette seems to be very good. Now he's got to try and use that to his advantage in some of these slower corners, especially we've got a quick sort of semi-quick right coming up. Then we have the chicane, and that's where he needs to really shoot out of that, because then you have that long straight up a hill at the fastest point, and that is an overtaking point as long as you get close. Doesn't look quite close enough. It's the chicane coming up now, and they seem to have sort of, you know, spread out a little bit. Done a real late break in there, I can see, but I think it's going to be enough to get out.
Let's take another look at the replay of the Aston under safety. Well, was it under safety car? The Aston was coming up from behind. Look, there's the Aston coming up on the right of the shot, and everyone else is bunching up. Now, is there anything that indicates the safety car is out? Are there any boards? Are there any flags?
Can't see any
you can see yet. I can't see anything. I mean, it's a big track, so it's sometimes hard to pick out the flag points.
Yeah.
Very difficult to see anything there that indicates. So it's a big story, this. Enger has not yet made a pit stop or a drive-through penalty. He's still out in front. He's still leading this race by 2.6 seconds. There he is, and trying to open up that lead, and they're obviously trying to argue the case that they shouldn't need to come into the pits for the drive-through penalty.
And I'm sure they're going to argue that quite strongly.
And there are the rest of them. So Dumbreck, followed by Dusseldorp, and then Berman, with Christopher Haas closing in a bit now.
Yeah, well, it's all sort of coming together. Again, it's surprising the Aston Martins to me, how quick they seem to be at the moment. But Berman is looking good, but he just doesn't seem to be quick enough in the right places to actually get by. He's split times and the difference in lap time between...
he's coming in. Yeah. Enger is coming in for the drive-through penalty. Their arguments presumably have not prevailed, and Thomas Enger comes in, and this is presumably the end of young drivers' hopes, unless the Nissan breaks down now from the lead. And Thomas Enger, look at the body language, arm up on the windowsill. How frustrated is he? All that hard work this year, and it's all for young driver, the accident for Mucker earlier this weekend. Now this, when it looked as though they might have done enough. Yes, Muller took advantage of the car slowing down, but it was very hard to tell whether they were under safety car conditions then or not. That's what the argument is over. He wasn't the only car overtaking in those conditions. We saw Westbrook make up ground as well. Yeah. So where do you draw the line as to where somebody moved ahead or they didn't? That's the question. But clearly the race director feels that he took advantage. So we'll just take another little look. Let's take another look at some of our footage from earlier. I think we may have another opportunity in a second to have a look at that. Just watching that back. Yeah, here we are. So
there's a yellow there.
Right, there is a yellow, yeah, in the background.
I think that's yellow.
Yeah, there was a yellow. You're absolutely right. There was a yellow in the background there.
But I can't see anything else after that. Then, normally in a yellow, you normally get a green, which then said it's free.
Yeah.
You can't overtake until a green.
And he didn't take the lead at this point.
Yeah,
and
so
of course, he got the drive-through penalty for actually taking the lead, which would have been a bit further round outside our shot. So it's quite possible that there was another yellow out of shot. So, well, the decision has been taken, and now there's a drive-through.
That's what I thought.
There's a drive-through for Peter Dumbreck.
It was just after you said he overtook, and I thought, I wonder, because they've been looking at that, they've now moved it to the next one.
So Peter Dumbreck, this car, that changes it again. Now the team's championship is going to go back in favour of young driver Aston Martin.
Wow.
My goodness, what a seesaw this is. They've decided that that car also overtook under safety car procedures, and Richard Westbrook not giving much away. It's like lift of the eyebrows there from Richard. But they were all doing it, you know. They were all trying to gain advantage, which if the boards weren't out, you're allowed to do. But as soon as they're out, of course, you've got to behave. And
there's still that yellow again. You don't overtake when there's a yellow.
That's right. So they've taken advantage. They've been given a drive-through penalty, which will mean the battle for the lead is going to be between the Aston, number 3 of Steph Dusseldorf, the Hex's car, and Jelmer Berman in the Corvette right behind them. There's been nothing to choose between these two for the last few laps. Only 18 minutes to go in this race. Jelmer Berman's going to have to really work this one out if he's going to overtake. Behind them, we've got Christopher Haas in the Lamborghini. Pacini still running in the number 4 car, by the way, in 5th place, the Hex's car without a bonnet. Then we've got the Sumo Power Nissan and Nicky Katzberg in 6th. Antoine Leclerc, who's in the number 10 Belgian Ford that was leading for a while under pit stops, well, he's now down in 7th. Jan Claret is 8th. Christopher Nygaard is 9th. And Riccardo Rizzati, who is the Argentine driver with Bas Linders this weekend, he's down in 10th position. Looking down over the track here from on high in the helicopter. Well, certainly lots been going on in that early lap, of course. It all comes down to the reaction of drivers and cars to the accident that took so many cars out at the start, the slowing down of the cars at the head of the queue, and advantage taken by, first of all, the Aston and indeed the Nissan, the number 22 car of Richard Westbrook. And Dumbreck now will have a drive through. So let's get some reaction from the pits. Let's go down to the young driver team first of all and get their take on it.
Aaron, your impression, do you think that Alex just didn't see the yellow flag?
Yeah, we have talked a lot of time now with the race director, and he have showed us, it was a yellow flag outside, and sorry, we can nothing do. He has not seen the board, he has not seen the yellow flags, Alex, and okay, he's go on. And now, after the race director spoken with the race director, we have seen, okay, the yellow flag was out, and sorry, okay, that's it.
Thank you.
So there was a yellow flag there. It must have been the one you spotted, I think, in that background of that shot. And but the interesting thing is, it wasn't just them, and that's probably why they're looking a little more relaxed about it now, because the number 22 car is also going to be done. And of course, if neither of them score points, and actually, there's a change.
That's the move.
That's the move for the possible win in this race. Jelmer Berman has got past the Aston Martin, the number 3 car of Steph Dusseldorf. And that is so crucial because the car that's currently leading has a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, and Christopher Haas as well. He's been closing the last few laps, and now he's right on the back of that Aston Martin as well. So there's a bit of pressure there again for the Aston. He's just lost one place. He's got to try and fight hard to not lose another.
Hexis not having the success they had here last year when they won both races, but Steph Dusseldorf still staying in the mix there as he tries to defend from Christopher Haas, who comes back into GT1 this weekend, having done the whole of last year with Peter Cox from Hall, one of the Reiter Lamborghinis. Back in a Lamborghini, different team. Oh, and there was a mistake from Berman. Berman made a mistake in the Corvette, and that gives Steph Dusseldorf another chance. He's going to try and take it, but then Christopher Haas will try and take advantage himself from 3rd place. Oh, Jelmer Berman so nearly threw away the lead that he earned only a few moments ago.
He did, and that was lucky where he did it. He just had, luckily, a nice slow chicane where he was able just to do enough defending to keep that lead. Hopefully he doesn't want to do that again.
Well, the lead is still Peter Dumbreck. Somebody's mirror, or is it a mirror? I think
it's a mirror,
off for the side of the car, but Dumbreck, while he's leading this race, is still going to have to come into the pit. The big question might be, I suppose you could ask, well, will he be ahead of Enger or not? The thing is, at the moment, Enger's outside the points, if Dumbreck could really go for it here and come out ahead of Enger and ahead of a couple of other cars, then perhaps JRM would still be in with a shout of the team's championship.
And the lap differences between Dumbreck and Thomas, who's in 11th, is only a couple of tenths, so it's not a great deal. That was obviously on the last lap, so we're going to have to monitor that.
Lovely view from the headlight camera on board the Lamborghini of Christopher Haas here, although you can see the shot blasting effect that this track has on the Perspex cover of the headlight, and he's so close in behind the Aston here. That's not really an overtaking spot.
Little there, went a bit wide.
Oh,
yeah.
it is. I'm completely wrong. He's got a beautiful move there, and Christopher Haas gets past the Aston Martin for what should be second place once the drive-through penalty has been made.
Yeah, well, he just ran a bit wide there. Quite surprising. As you were speaking, he just went that little bit wider onto the looseness, and then didn't get the drive out.
So across the line they come once again. It's Dumbreck still out in front at the moment from Berman in second place, but we are looking for that drive-through penalty from the Nissan number 22 to be taken in the next lap or so. Thomas Enger is down in 11th place in the young driver Aston Martin, and he is still lapping, as you say, pretty fast, although Dumbreck a bit quicker on that last lap as well. So JRM are not completely out of this yet. We are going to have to go to the final few moments of the 2011 season to find out which team is going to emerge as teams championships. That is how they are at the moment, because at the moment neither car would score points.
Yeah.
But that assumes that Dumbreck does his drive-through, which he has to do, of course, but it also assumes that then they don't get some points in the latter part of the race, and they may well get some points in the latter part of the race. So that is still open for decision. We'll wait and see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, well, that's really going to be down to Peter now. He's got to really get some real quick laps in so he can get ahead of Thomas, and like you say, maybe later he can get some points.
So let's get back down to the pits and see what Richard Westbrook makes of all this.
Richard, did you not see the yellow flag when you were out on track?
Well, I came past the big accident in the beginning, and main thing, thank God everyone's okay, and I thought I was going to hit someone. I mean, you just couldn't see anything. It was a big mess. There was no yellow flags up there. The Corvette braked, everyone came round, the Aston Martin went to the front. I was in 4th position. For sure I gained a couple of places, but there was no safety car sign at that point. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure, but, you know, I'm not complaining.
Thank you.
So, Richard, presumably the discussion's still going on. This is a replay of that, what was going on at that time, and just trying to work out what everybody was trying to do there. But we've still got a race on our hands here. Presumably, JRM Nissan are still arguing about it all, trying to... no, Dumbreck's come in. Dumbreck has come in on this lap. So the race lead goes to Jelmer Berman, the young Dutch driver who has been such a star this weekend. Peter Dumbreck taking the drive-through, earned as a result of what Richard Westbrook did earlier on in the race, and he's now had to follow. Now, where will he come out with regard to Thomas Enger? That is the big question. Will he come out in front or behind the young driver Aston Martin, which is heading on? I think he's going to be in front of the Aston.
I think he could be. It's going to be tight, really tight.
Where is the Aston?
There it is.
He's going to be very tight. The Aston's going to be right
back
side by
front.
side. The two teams that are fighting with the team's championship, the Thomas Enger gets in front of Peter Dumbreck, but at the moment they're both outside the points. Well, in fact, no, Enger will now be 10th. Enger will be just inside the points, but Peter will be outside the points. Oh, Richard can't look. They've got to get in front of that young driver Aston Martin if they're going to win the team's championship as well. And they've got to get in front of it by, I think, a couple of places, because young driver have a 3-point advantage coming in. And of course, at the bottom end of the point scoring system, you're only gaining 1 or 2 points over the other car. So they've got to get a few places ahead, and this is incredibly nerve-wracking. Nice to see the guys can still smile at young driver. It can't be much less nerve-wracking, I'm sure.
Absolutely not. And again, it's Thomas Enger in the car, and that's going to be very hard for that Nissan to get in front. I think there's all head in hands and everything, but it's not over. There's still a bit of time to go. We've got 10 minutes to go, but you never know what can happen on track.
That's right. Who knows what's going to happen here? Thomas Enger you're riding with right now. Well, he'll be buzzed up now, I'm sure, because he saw the body language when he had the drive-through penalty. He thought it was all over, so did we, but it wasn't, because then JR Motorsports picked up a penalty as well. And there is our race leader. So there is Jelmer Berman leading this race. He's got a decent advantage. He's got 2.8 seconds advantage over Christopher Haas in second place. Third place, then, after that drive-through penalty has now been taken, is that car. It is Steph Dusseldorp in the Hexis Aston Martin, another of the very, very solid newcomers to the championship this year. Now, Piccini in that Aston, he's still going well, despite the lack of body. He's being chased by Nicky Katzberg. Then you've got Antoine Leclerc chasing on in sixth place. Seventh is Jan Claret. Eighth, Christopher Nygaard in the other Ford. Then Rizzati is ninth in the silver and burgundy Ford. 10th place is Enger. 11th place, Dumbreck. And that's how they stand, with Enger at the moment looking to score 1 point for young driver, and JRM Nissan there with Peter Dumbreck outside the points as we go into the final 8.5 minutes of this event. Bas Leinders for the Mark VDS Ford team. Now, I wonder what the discussions they're having with young driver at this stage. Their car is just ahead of, next car ahead of Enger. So
that's just what I was going to see, how far ahead it is as well, because obviously that's going to be key, because you can see now that Peter seems to be on it. He knows he's got to risk everything to get ahead of Thomas, but then, of course, he's got to get further ahead than that. He needs those few extra points to do it. But he's on a charge. We've only got 8 minutes to go. It's possible, but it's going to be really, really hard. It's going to be one monumental drive to be able to pull this one off.
Oh, well, it's just exciting that after all the trials and tribulations of this race, and too much damage done in the early stages, that's for sure, we still have an amazing conclusion to enjoy, a climax to the team's championship to watch, and also a performance from a young driver here, Jelmer Berman.
Jelmer Berman, absolutely. Lap time's fantastic, quickest car on track. He's very consistent as well, and that seems to be carrying him through. And again, we'll see.
Let's get back to the pits and find out what young driver we're working out with Bas Leinders.
I do all for you.
Okay, thank you, Ari. I just heard you speak to VDS. Is it just purely about the race?
Yeah, purely about the race. Well, it was a big crash in the start, and then we have spoken a little bit over this. It was crazy. I mean, yeah, 2 or 3 Lambos out now, and yeah, that's shit.
Well, apologies for the language there, but I'm not sure they were only talking about the start. I have a feeling they might have been talking about more, but they don't want to give too much away at this point. Berman leads. Christopher Haas in the Lamborghini still second, and some cars under investigation at the moment, but that's not really relevant. Still third place for Dusseldorp. Fourth place coming through, Christian Honard, Andrea Piccini in the car at the moment. Then Katzberg and Leclerc, Antoine Leclerc having a good run here, sixth place. And there are the 2 cars battling for the team's championship, although Thomas Enger could allow the Nissan through, but he doesn't want to.
He won't want to, no.
No, that's right, because anything can happen, and he will want to stay in front if at all possible. On board then with Peter Dumbreck, trying to get back past the Aston. What an amazing tussle between these 2 great teams, the 2 sort of top teams really of this whole season. Remember, they both had drivers who could have won the championship coming into this final event. That went wrong for young driver, but they can still win the team's championship here. But Peter Dumbreck wants to do everything he can to prevent that happening.
Yeah, well, Riccardo Rizzati is only just in front. They're closing that gap down. There he is, just in front of Thomas. So that gap's coming down. We're down to sort of under 6 minutes, but they seem to be closing quite quickly on lap time. Actually, they were doing about the same then. It was only Peter who was quicker, but I think we're going to see a very shrewd Thomas. He's going to be sort of playing this. He's going to get the drive out of the corners, and if he knows he gets the proper traction and drive, he knows he's not going to be able to overtake. That is Peter. So he's going to be very shrewd. You know, he's a very experienced young lad, and he's going to make it very, very hard.
This is great stuff, though. Thomas Enger and Peter Dumbreck, 2 they're young guys, but they're old hands at racing hard and at knowing what it takes to win races, to win titles as well. They've both done it in the past in different categories, and at the moment these 2 are fighting all the way through. Now, just looking at that, right, now the team's championship, right, I've got to correct myself here, because what I haven't allowed for is the fact that the Hexis team has got 2 cars in the top 4 places, because that car that's running with the bonnet off is still scoring points for Hexis. And it's not just these 2, after all, that are fighting for the team's championship, because Hexis are right in there as well. If it stays like it is right now, Hexis would win on 238 points versus Young Driver on 231. So it's a 3-way tussle for the team's championship.
Well, we missed that one, didn't we? Unbelievable. Well, this is going to be more interesting, because obviously these 2 cars that we're watching at the moment need to push as hard as they can if they're going to have any chance of getting those points. So they're both over after points now.
Part of the reason that they come into it, actually, it's really interesting, is because the number 11 and number 47 cars that are running first and second do not score team points. So that's what's sort of confused us a little bit. So actually, the 2 Hexis cars would get points for first and second. So that's what makes the difference. That's what means Hexis could actually win this thing. This is incredible. I can't quite believe what's happening. But we've still got a good dice here between Thomas Enger and Peter Tumbreck. And there's honour at stake, even if it's not the team's championship.
Absolutely. And they're closing down those cars in front. There's actually a few cars now coming into shot. But they've only really got a couple of laps left, I would say. Maybe 3 at max.
Yeah, that's right. We are counting down now. It's a long lap here. It's a 2 minutes and a quarter lap to get around the Potrero de los Funes circuit. We've seen a huge accident in the early stages of this race, the very start of the race, taking out the new Drivers' World Champions, Lucas Luhr and Michael Krum. That was a bit wide there from Enger. We saw several cars go out in that incident. We saw the number 7 Aston Martin of Alex Muller spun through 2 360-degree spins. That car there that's still trying to stay in front of the Nissan, but they're fighting away for points in the team's championship. But what about Hexis? They can win it now. Let's go and hear from Philippe Dumas.
Philippe, with the current standings, you are the world champions, the GT1 world champions. For the team's title, you walk away with it.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Do you know whether it's illegal to drive without a bonnet?
I don't know. I don't know for the moment. We check everything, and we will see after the race. The race is not finished, so.
Thank you.
Well, Haley really getting in there with the tough questions, and Philippe Dumas not wanting to count his chickens at all, because it's just such an amazing situation that we're in, that Hexis might actually win this championship with a car that's missing a bonnet, that's been involved in all sorts of incidents on the first lap. Not actually the initial crash, they got involved later on around the lap, I think. But right now, these 2 are still fighting. There's Clivio Piccioni, who is teammate to Steph Dusseldorp. He's looking at getting a podium finish, which is at least a good way to finish the year, but it might be even better. It could be the team title for Hexis. This small French team that has got so much passion for what they do, and it would, in a way, be so justified for them to take victory here. Although I've got a feel for Young Driver and for JRM, who've worked so hard season long, and they've been unlucky this weekend with cars going out for a variety of reasons, involved in accidents that weren't their fault in some cases. But what a story this is for the world title, the team's championship. There is your race leader, the 24-year-old Dutch driver who never sat in a GT1 car before this weekend, who is looking at 2 wins. I mean, that's just remarkable. Him and Francesco Pastorelli to come in from not ever having raced these cars before, and they've taken on the best in the world, and it looks like they're going to come home with victory.
It certainly does, and it's nice for Liama Berman as well to get that fastest lap. No one's going to, I don't think, beat that in the next lap we're on, but I think it's just fantastic, you know, to come in, you know, with no real experience and absolutely do a fantastic job. Unbelievable.
Well, they'll be partying in the Netherlands tonight, I tell you what. The result for those 2 guys, for Berman, and a bit of a slide there for Andrea Piccini. Well, for Piccini, what a moment this is. Now, what's he doing? He's battling here with Katzberg, and Katzberg has got past. Katzberg has got past that. Now, will that make a difference? Of course it will make a difference, because there are less points on offer now. So that's going to make the team's championship close again, but I think they would still perhaps have a margin. We're not going to know when they cross the line who's even won it. This is incredible. Katzberg has got the Nissan past. The clock is ticking away as the leader crosses the line, and we go on to the final lap. It is Jelmer Berman with a good advantage over Christopher Haas. Great comeback to the championship for Christopher Haas. He raced all last year, has come in for this one weekend. He's looking at a podium finish. There's the Hexis Aston of Steph Dusseldorp and Clivio Piccioni. But in the background is the Nissan now of Nicky Katzberg up to 4th. So the other Nissan has dropped back down into 5th position. So a difference there between scoring 12 points and scoring 10 points. Might not be too bad. They might still be able to have enough points to win the team's championship, but let's wait and see what happens on this very last lap. There is no doubt, surely, that Jelmer Berman and Francesco Pastorelli are going to make history, really, by winning on their debut. Okay, 2010 was the start of the GT1.
Oh, we've got a crash there.
Oh, one of the Fords has made heavy contact with the wall. One of the Mark VDS cars. It is the number 41 car, I think, of Jan Claret. And a lot of damage. Yeah, it is. It's Jan Claret. Oh, with his teammate. Oh, no. Can you believe that? It was actually Rizzati trying to get past him on the inside. And that was what caused the accident into the tyres. And would you believe they've had a horrible year, and you'd think they could have done without that to finish things off. We are on the final lap, though, and it's Berman who is heading towards the race victory as he plunges downhill.
Yeah, Dumbreck is ahead of Thomas. I don't think we saw that.
Ah, right, we didn't see that. Dumbreck
either.
has got past Thomas Enger. I don't think that's going to make any difference in terms of their relative positions in the teams. I think if Enger stays there, then they would still be second in the team's championship to Hexis, we think. We're going to wait until the final table is published, I think, at the end of all this, because it really is very, very difficult to work out. Also, car 20 is under investigation for the start incident. Now, if you took car 20 back out of the equation, will that change the points? Who knows? But let's not be confused about who's going to win this race, and indeed who's dominated the weekend. It is the two young drivers who have come into the Corvette for this one event, and they have done a stunning job. It is going to be Jelmer Berman and Francesco Pastorelli to win the championship race here in Argentina. What a story. Christopher Haas and Manuel Lauck finished second in their Lamborghini. Third place is going to go to this car, Steph Dusseldorp and Clivio Piccioni and the Hexis Aston Martin. Now, where is their other car? Where is Philippe Dumas' other car? He's watching for it. There's Katzberg. Where is Andrea Piccini? There he is. There he is. Now that could be enough for Hexis to win the team's championship. Let's wait to do all the sums. But it's looking good for them. There is Dumbreck. He's ahead, as you say, of Enger. And there's the limping Ford trying to get around. What is they don't know. They don't know whether to react or not. Have they won the team's championship? Nobody quite knows. There are tears. There's emotion. They think they've done it. They're trying to work it out. Berman and Haas, the two top cars, do not score team points, and that would mean that Dusseldorp gets the 25 points for the team, and Hohenadel would get 18 points for the team. No, he wouldn't. He was third. So actually there is quite a difference between second and third. He would get 15 points. Let's go down to Philippe Dumas and see if he knows for sure what's going on. Let's see.
Philippe, congratulations, you are world champion. Philippe, thank you, Philippe.
Oh, this is just unbelievable. Look at the emotion from this French team. They are just a fantastic unit, these guys. And Philippe Dumas, he cannot barely believe it. The passion that runs through that guy. He was a racer himself, a driver himself. But there's Stefan Rattel to congratulate him, to confirm it. It has been confirmed. The Hexis team are the FIA GT1 World Champions of 2011. And they have done it, and that tells the story, Johnny.
It's wonderful. Even getting me emotional as well. I think that's absolutely brilliant. It's great to see those guys. You know, these guys do such a hard work. Mechanics sort of never really get a lot of the credit they deserve, but they fully deserve it on this occasion.
They have been consistently the fastest pit stoppers this year. I mean, they have produced some of the most amazing pit stops. They won the first race of the year in Abu Dhabi thanks to a brilliant pit stop. There's Christian Hohenadel. He can't quite soak it in either. It is just astonishing what has happened here. Let's get back down to the pits with Haley.
Clement, congratulations, an emotional result, and what a great year.
Yes, very great, it's fantastic. We don't understand what happened now. We don't understand, it's all the team, our driver, big championship. We are very, very, very satisfaction.
And Christian, congratulations to be a part of a world champion team, moving from GT3 to GT1 this year. It's quite a result for you.
Of course, was a quite good season. Thanks to Hexet, at the moment we have no idea what happened. It's very emotional at the moment, so we stay calm and see what's happened. And thanks to Hexet for giving me the chance. And yeah, I appreciate that all the year through.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
So that was Clément Mathieu, who is the man who runs the team. He's the son of Michel Mathieu, the CEO of the Hexis Group. And of course, Philippe Dumas is the actual team manager, the operations manager, they've delivered. But there is Francesco Pastorelli. The Jelmer Berman is out of the Corvette. These guys have taken victory. They've come into the championship and shown everybody what they can do in that Corvette. The Corvette which has been on the scene for so many years now, run by a small team, and it's definitely been the weekend for the smaller teams. The might of JRM, Nissan, they've won the Drivers' Championship. The might of Young Driver in the end disappointed. It's the smaller teams that have come through on the Sunday.
Absolutely, and I'm pleased for them. They do finally get that podium, and they do finally get that trophy to take home, because they've done a wonderful job this weekend. I'm sure they're going to be very proud with themselves, but with the team as well. The team have done a great job as well. The pit stops went so fantastic. That was an entertaining race today.
That was incredible, absolutely incredible how it all came to a massive climax at the end there. And the team's championship, who would have thought that the team's championship would have come down to the wire in quite that way. Steph Dusseldorp, Clivia Piccioni, drivers for Hexis, Aston Martin, celebrating a podium finish and the team's title. They were second in the team's championship last year, Hexis, after taking 2 victories at this circuit. This year, the whole weekend has been such hard work for them. They thought their chances were completely done and dusted, and yet, by limping around with that car that got damaged, they have still managed to come home with the title. That's really incredible. Brilliant. And there's Jelmer Berman to congratulate them as well. And yet he's won the race. All the excitement's about Hexis, of course, and poor Jelmer and Francesco almost lost in the excitement. But they will get on the podium today, and they will get a trophy. So they'll be happy. Let's go down and hear from Piccioni and Dusseldorf.
Congratulations, Clivia. What a way to finish the season. Podium finish and the world champion.
It's just amazing. The team did an awesome job all the way through, and to finish this way, the end of the year, we didn't think about it, but now it's just the best day of my life.
Huge celebrations tonight, Steph.
Fuck. It was a tremendous race. So incredibly hot. And the 35 minutes lasted quite long. I had no radio, so I didn't know how long to go, but we did it. We deserved it, and we're the new world champions.
Thank you.
Well, a real level of excitement there from these guys at Hexis. Again, apologies for any language, but you could just feel what it means to them. They were fighting for the team's championship throughout the year, and it was really last time out, if you remember, there was huge disappointment when Andrea Piccini went off in the closing stages of the Beijing race, when they were leading that race, and they thought that their chances were pretty much over with that. But, well, actually, Philippe Dumas never thought that. He never gives up. He never thought that the chances were over, and he's been proved correct. So they have done a stunning job. Right. Well, let's not forget our race winners, though, because they were awesome this weekend. Let's hear from Jelmer Berman and Francesco Pastorelli.
Congratulations, guys. What a result. You got 2 race wins here this weekend for Corvette.
Yeah, we only missed the pole, but yeah, that's the only thing. But the race was well. Shame that the safety car was so long that I couldn't do anything, but Jelmer did a fantastic job. He drove back from 3rd place to the 1st to win the race.
Congratulations, Jelmer. It's been quite the weekend for the 2 of you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, we came here just to have fun, basically. Of course, we always push as hard as possible. But to leave here with 2 wins is pretty amazing. I mean, at this level, and then just jump in a car we didn't know and win. It's quite a good feeling.
Hope to see you next year. Thank you, guys.
A new pair of stars in GT1. I wonder if Francesco Pastorelli is going to go back to mechanicking and running cars in the Dutch Supercar Series after this. He'll certainly be able to tell his drivers what to do. He said he'll take no grief from his drivers now. He'll tell them, look, mate, you're talking to a winner of a GT1 World Championship race here.
Absolutely, and he thoroughly deserves it, and he thoroughly deserves a drive, to be honest, both of them, you know, permanently, because they really drove the wheels off of that car.
Berman in particular with that fastest lap at the end, or during the race, not the end, but that was a great lap from him, 2 minutes 14.963. So let's go and hear from the guys that finished second now, Manuel Lauck and Christopher Haas with their Lamborghini.
Congratulations, from 9th to 3rd place, and 2nd place, and finishing on the podium.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. So from the 9th position, we had a really good start, and of course, it was quite hard. The 4 cars in front of me crashed, but I found a gap, and so I was already on the 2nd position. I can't believe it, but yeah, it was really good start. And then we had a long safety car time, but everything was more or less okay. We had one problem with the tires because Christopher killed the tires in the qualifying, and so we had just one set new tires. But in the end, it was perfectly to have the safety car for us. And so, yeah, from the 9th to the 2nd position, we are quite happy.
And Christopher, what a great performance for you to have in your comeback in the World Championship.
Yeah, it's great. It's like the GT3 in the FIA. But I have to say, we got a great car from our team, from DCR Racing, and it's unbelievable. Manuel did a really great job on the start because he had a luck. He did not crash like the other cars, and it's unbelievable. I don't know what I should say.
Congratulations, guys.
Christopher Haas, just referring to the fact that he had a win in a FIA GT3 race, which was also a one-off at Zandvoort a couple of weeks ago. So at the end of the season, which has been a little bit quieter, has worked out to be fantastic for Christopher, and many congratulations to him. So a few people cooling off. Let's take a look at the result. The Corvette, the ex-Bank Team China car, taking victory here with its 2 drivers new to the series, ahead of Lauck and Haas in their Lamborghini and Piccioni and Dusseldorf 4th. But Oldie and Katzberg got their Sumo Power car up to 4th, but with Hohenadel and Piccini in 5th, it was a great day for Hexis. Paltala and Leclerc were 6th, Hershey and Nygaard in their Ford 7th. Westbrook and Dumbreck were 8th, ahead of Leinders and Rizzati. They got a car between themselves and Muller and Enger. Then Martin and Claret with Rossi and Verdonk finishing down in 12th position. Of course, we lost a lot of cars, sadly, from the field in the early crash, and that had a big effect. But let's just remember that in terms of the points, this is what it means in terms of the team's championship. Hexis AMR have taken the title, with Dumbreck moving ahead of Rizzati on that last lap or so. JR Motorsports got 2nd in the end, and Young Driver, who for a while there it seemed as though Young Driver would be champions, they've had to settle for 3rd. That's how much it changed through the course of the race. Alinkel finished 4th ahead of Sumo, Mark VDS Belgian Racing and the Swiss Racing Team. And as we know, in the Drivers' Championship, of course, that was settled yesterday for the win. Michael Krum and Lucas Law took the victory and have taken the title. But Stefan Mucker and Darren Turner, despite not even racing this weekend, still finish as runners-up. Hohenadel and Piccini get the decision for 3rd, with Enger and Muller finishing 4th, just 1 point ahead of championship leaders at the mid-stage of the season, Mark Basseng and Marcus Winkelhock. And with Max Martin finishing in 6th place, Steph Dusseldorf finished in 7th place in the Hexis car. So the drivers are out onto the podium. They're carrying those black armbands in memory of those girls who died so sadly in that tragic bus accident here in San Luis earlier on this week. But the other drivers making their way out now as well. 2nd place for Christopher Haas and Manuel Lauck. Lauck just joining the latter part of the championship. And there, Jelmer Berman and Francesco Pastorelli. They didn't get a chance to do this yesterday after the qualifying race, but they certainly do today in the championship race, where they've scored the big points as well. A remarkable effort by them and by their crew to get them to the top step, and they will be really enjoying this and soaking up the atmosphere. Jelmer Berman and Francesco Pastorelli. Pastorelli, like his brother, dual nationality, Dutch and Italian, and Jelmer enjoying he'll be enjoying this so much after his victories in Super League. Now he's done it in GT1. What a season it has been. So, drivers just preparing for the podium celebrations now, and the anthems play out. So a short anthem. Bear in mind, this is the first win for the Exim Bank Team China outfit. It's the first win for a Corvette in a championship race, winning in qualifying races in the past, but never in a championship race. There, Piccioni and Dusseldorf celebrating that third place finish, and what a finish to the season for the Hexis team by taking the title. There, we've got the second place finishers, Lauk and Haas. And they really weren't expecting anything like that, I don't think, when they came into the weekend here. And also our two rookies joining the championship for a one-off event, Francesco Pastorelli and Jelmer Berman, doing everything more, really, than ever could have been expected of them to take two victories and really show their class with that car. Fantastic stuff. Johnny, really has been a weekend of unexpected outcomes, hasn't it?
Oh, I think it has.
Apart, I suppose, from the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But I think it was just today. I think, you know, we had that amazing incident at the start. It took out sort of the main sort of front runners. It opened the doors to other cars and drivers, and we saw a fascinating end to the team championship as well. So overall, it's been a fantastic weekend, a very, very lovely location.
Yeah, stunning location, no doubt about it. And we gather that FIA GT1 is quite likely to be coming back here in the future as well. That's got to be a great venue.
Yep, seems to be, which is really nice. I've got my Speedos on, I've got my towel in arm, and I'm going to go for a swim.
Good man. Go and cool down a little bit after what's been an absolutely beautifully hot day here in the mountains, not far from San Luis. And Argentina, once again, has been a wonderful host to the FIA GT1 World Championship. They really work hard at this circuit to make everybody feel comfortable. It's a very slickly run organisation here, and it beautifully put together. And there is that stunning setting as well around the lake, which has put on really a remarkable end of season. Got a feel for Michael Krum and Lucas Law, who weren't quite able to sort of maximise the whole season. They're drivers' champions. That's the big thing they were going for. They weren't quite able to help their team win the team's championship, but there was nothing they could do about that. The car was taken out in that start line crash.
No, absolutely. But I think at the end of the day, like you said, Ben, they are the world driver champions, and I think they very well deserve it. And I think that's what they can go home with, obviously.
Yep, no, they got second place in the end as well. So
yeah,
they beat big rivals, Young Driver, to that. But both of them outfoxed in the end by the Hexis racing team. And as we say, it is deserved to them. It might have come at the last moment, but they have been an incredible team. Their competitiveness, their spirit, the speed of their pit stops throughout the season, the way they've got those Aston Martins consistently, regularly up there. They might not have won races all the time, but both outfits, both cars in that team won races this year. The Hohenadel Piccini car winning at the Saxon Ring, coming so close to winning in Beijing, and the other car winning at the first race of the season after a fantastic pit stop, Piccioni and Dusseldorf winning in Abu Dhabi. So the team has had 2 championship race wins to celebrate. They've been consistent throughout the year, unlucky on a couple of occasions. Well, of course, all the teams have suffered some bad luck as well, but they have emerged triumphant in the team's championship after that final very, very eventful race. Now, we are going to enjoy a second podium here, and that is, of course, for the championship titles. So that's what everybody is waiting for now. And for the top drivers, for the top teams, that is who we're going to be seeing out on the podium. And stepping up there in third place, there in second place is Darren Turner and Stefan Mucker. So an opportunity to put the race overalls on after all for Stefan and Darren. But they're the champions, the FIA GT1 world champions they are, of course. Lucas Luhr and Michael Krum. And although there'll be an element of disappointment today that they weren't able to win it for the team as well, the satisfaction that they earned yesterday is still absolutely written over their faces. Very, very special moment for them. The highlights of their careers so far, and particularly for Michael, a little bit older than Lucas, in his early 40s now, and his career very much at a peak, but you've got to say it won't be that many more years. I think Michael is one of those guys who will keep going for a number of years and will be winning races for quite a few years, but you've got to say this is the crown of his career at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for both of them, you know, Lucas has been around for a long, long time, won many events in sports cars and GTs around the world, but a world championship is always special. And, you know, I think we saw the emotion of Lucas yesterday, and I'm sure together they're going to have a bit of fun tonight.
Well, the English national anthem ringing out because the team is British. That's why, because JRM Nissan is a British team, so that's why you're hearing the national anthem. But Luhr and Krum now being able to get used to this feeling. Of course, finishing in third in the championship. Very, very happy Hex's pair. Second in the championship for Stefan Mucker and Darren Turner. Hohenadel and Piccini finishing in that third place. But Lucas Luhr and Michael Krum are the champions of 2011, following in the footsteps of Michael Bartels and Andrea Bertolini last year, who won the title on the same soil in Argentina. An absolutely amazing achievement. And for Michael, who was involved in the development of that Nissan GT1 car right from the outset, he was involved in the initial testing and development of that car. And it was always their intention to win, try and aim for winning the title this year. Last year, they always felt was a learning year. They aimed and targeted the 2011 season as their championship winning year. It's one thing to have it as a target, it's another to achieve it.
Absolutely. And as you said, you know, he's very famous in Japan. That's where most of his racing has been in the last 4, 5 or more years. Married to a Japanese tennis player. He's very at home there, and as you said, because he's got such a relationship with Nissan, he was able to really get on board very early in the program, and that development work has paid off.
And there we've got the Hexis guys coming up to celebrate on the team's championship front. Philippe Dumas, and they're just loving this, aren't they?
That's not the right one.
Oh dear, it's not the right one. They've been given the wrong one. That won't do.
Oh, there you go.
Third place going to Young Driver in the end. So they didn't get to win the big one.
There you go.
Second place going to James Rumsey of JRM Nissan. Well, they had to settle for second in the end because the big one, the big trophy, goes to Hexis Racing. And it is Clément Mathieu, Philippe Dumas, who have hold of that trophy. They still can't quite believe it, but they have done it. And the team that's run Aston Martins for the last 2 years in GT1 have come home with a big trophy, and that's lovely. The other drivers, Piccioni and Dusseldorf, coming up there to celebrate as well. There is the Hexis AMR team, the FIA GT Team World Champion of 2011.
Great to see. Well deserved. Again, like you said earlier, Ben, it was everybody's had a mixed season, and at the end of the day, they've had the best.
Yep, they scored more points than the others.
Exactly.
That's what it's down to.
Yeah.
And however you do it, that's what counts at the end of the day, and they thoroughly do deserve it. And that's nice that and the crew's all together there, having their pictures taken now. There's James with his two drivers, Lucas and Michael. It's been a really solid season for them. And disappointment, I know, for them that they haven't wrapped it up for teams as well. But I think even they will understand that these guys do in many ways deserve it. It was unfortunate that their car got crashed out in the early stages today for JRM. But Hexis have just put so much heart and soul into this championship for the last 2 years. And I don't think anyone would take it away from them. So that's the end of the podium celebrations, and people beginning to make their way home or thinking about what's been going on this season. Of course, looking forward to next year's championship. Still very much a lot of discussions going on about exactly how that will work and what's going to happen. But we're going to be seeing a lot of these teams, a lot of these drivers coming back next year and fighting for another world title. And no doubt we'll see another season of ups and downs and seesawing